Coach's Connection, connecting you and the greater DMV to local sports programs, as well as the coaches that inspire our local youth.
Hey, welcome again. I'm Faraud Tate with another edition of Coach Connections. I am so honored today to have a man that's not just coaching, but you're connecting our city and our young persons to really a platform where everyone can see their greatness.
Right.
So before we go any further, I want you to tell the world who you are and what do you do.
Hey, what's up, good people? It's that sports dude, Chris Dunlap. If you all aren't familiar with me just yet, I cover the DC Public High School sports for my online network, TSDN, That Sports Dude Network. I've been doing this since about 2017, and my goal and purpose with TSDN is just to provide a platform for DCPS student athletes where they can get exposure and media coverage. And the reason that I do it, because when I was in high school, I graduated from HD Woodson in 2011. When I was in high school, the only media coverage that we got during my time as a football player, the only media coverage we got was on Turkey Bowl morning, Thanksgiving morning.
If you made it.
Yeah, and that's if you made it, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So on Turkey Bowl morning, that's the only time that we got any coverage. And I know for a fact that if we had the type of coverage that I provide and that some of my colleagues provide, I know for a fact, like I know my name, like I know the back of my hand, that so many more of my teammates and peers would have gotten more scholarship opportunities. So I'm just thankful that I'm able to do so.
And we're thankful for that, for you being here on Coach Connection. And this is why we do it. We understand that if we don't uplift and elevate the excellence of our athletes, they will go unnoticed.
Yep.
And so I want you to give us an example. You were on a football team, and you talked about the Turkey Bowl, right?
Love the Turkey Bowl. Nothing like the Turkey Bowl. Love it.
For those persons who are not in D.C., can you tell us a little bit about that pathway it took you into being at that Turkey Bowl, and let us know what the Turkey Bowl is.
Sure.
And then I'm going to ask you a few more questions because we want people to understand why this is so important, and that not only do you tune in, but be active in making sure that you are supporting our athletes.
Absolutely. So first, so I'll start with the first point. Okay. The DCIAA Turkey Bowl, and I may be a little biased because I'm a two-time champion of it.
Oh, no. Okay.
But the DCIAA Turkey Bowl is the city football championship for the public schools.
Yeah.
And when I say it is the biggest event on Thanksgiving in Washington, D.C., it is undefeated in that sense.
Yeah.
So,
Grandma there.
Yeah.
Graduation, you know.
Everybody's there. I mean, a lot of people would say when the the Washington football team and the Cowboys would play on Thanksgiving, that was the biggest game. But I like to say, no, that doesn't even scratch the surface of the Turkey Bowl.
No.
So like I said, it's been a long-standing tradition that everybody loves, everybody goes to. Always fun. And I was able to, I played for HD Woodson. We had some really good teams throughout the years, and those 2 seasons that I was a part of that program. Shout out to Coach Greg Fuller and that team.
And we're going to hold that because that's that coach there. We're going to talk about him, all right?
That's a great man.
Come on, talk to me.
So, again, like I was saying, we had some really good teams that year, some D1 prospects, and we were able to defeat Ballou in 2019 in the Turkey Bowl, and then defeat long-time dominant program Dunbar in 2010.
Another great coach. We talked to him.
Absolutely.
Yep, okay.
So, and now in my broadcast career, my goal is to really show people that DCIAA football, DC Public High School football, is the thing to watch, is the thing to get connected with.
Yes.
And the Turkey Bowl shows that year in and year out. I mean, we've had over just the past 3 seasons, we've had overtime games between Dunbar and Ballou and HD Woodson. We've had upset victories where Ballou defeated HD Woodson in 2017.
In that last moment.
Yep, in the last moment.
What?
And then we had last year a team that a lot of people really didn't expect to make it to the Turkey Bowl win. Dunbar defeated longtime dominant HD Woodson.
And the coach at Dunbar. Now, you said it. You mentioned your coach.
Yep.
So what I want to do is I want you to remember for us the impact that the coach had on your life, brother.
And with Coach's Connection, what a perfect question right there, man. Coach Greg Fuller, 7-time Turkey Bowl champion in his own right. But before he's a coach, he's a leader of young men. Some of the things that I learned under his tutelage, under his coaching, under his leadership, I still use in my life today as a grown man. And I know many of my teammates will be able to say the same thing. So it's no surprise that you see people like myself giving back in forms like media. An old teammate of mine, Rodney Williams, a.k.a. Coach Scrap, he's a member of the H.D. Woodson coaching staff.
Wow, he came back.
Yep, he came back.
Okay.
And that's what Coach Fuller has done during his tenure at H.D. Woodson, has built young men and has been a father figure to so many of us, especially in a place in Ward 7 where H.D. Woodson is, where you need men like that, upstanding, really good men to help lead a lot of young men in the right direction. And Coach Fuller has absolutely done that.
Wow.
One of the greatest, in my opinion.
Hey, I hear you. And we're going to interview all the coaches here, and we'll make sure that they're connected. One of the things we do is we're connected to communities so that the coaches have the resources that they need.
Sure.
When you were playing, everything was about that game.
Yep.
Of course, academics was real, right? But that game, when you hit that field, how did the coach get you all as young men to play together, man? To bond?
Now, I'll say this. Coach Fuller, again, a great leader of men, was really great about that. Especially, we would start every season, and this probably would lead into, league play when we came back to D.C. So we would go out of town for 3 or 4 games as, a preparation for when we came back and played the Blues, the Dump. Yep, we got to travel.
So that's why we got to support these coaches.
Yep,
got to put some cash in their hand.
Absolutely.
Come on, keep talking.
So we would go out of town at the beginning of the season, and the one thing that Coach Fuller would instill in us is that we are all we got. When we go to these other places, the other cities, the other states, and then even when we come back to D.C. after out-of-town play, and we would play these different programs and with different teams and stuff like that on our way to championship time, he would preach to us and preach to us and preach to us the importance of being a team, not individuals. Because if you have a team of individuals, there's no I in team. And if you have a team of individuals, you're not going to win that way.
Gotcha.
And he would preach and he would continue to state the importance of playing as a team. And that was 10 years ago when I was in high school, and he's still doing it today. Coach Fuller,
all right, Coach Connection, that's what I'm talking about. We want to make sure our coaches, because these coaches are not just impacting you now.
Right.
You heard it. This is 10 years ago. The brother is still using what he's been coached. And that unity off the field came into the community. Can you tell us how it connected the community together when you all got off that field?
Sure. And kind of what I mentioned about how you see so many of us giving back. I can go down the list, but I'll just name a few off the top of my head. One, I start with myself in media. We learned, especially, that's one thing, and not just at H.D. Woodson, but you'll see this at a lot of different D.C. public high schools, and not just in football, in other sports as well, where you'll see a lot of former student athletes, a lot of alumni giving back in different areas in their community. So for myself, being an H.D. Woodson football player, I learned the importance of giving back and loving our league and loving our community. So I give back in media. Tia Bell, who is really on the grounds, she was a dominant, legendary basketball player at H.D. Woodson.
Yes, I
Tia
mean,
Bell.
she held it down.
Oh, yeah, oh, man. NC State, that's a whole show within itself talking about H.
We're going to have her here, too, real soon, y'all.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So Tia Bell, she is a real proponent of ending gun violence. She has a program called the Trigger Project. And during her time under the tutelage of another great coach, Frank Oliver Jr., she learned the importance of giving back and building up her community. Another young man, let me see, Chris Jones, who was one of my former teammates at H.D. Woodson. He's been a head coach, and now he's the defensive coach for H.D. Woodson now. Alonzo Russell, who is another great receiver out of DCIAA, he's gone off to, he's had opportunities in the NFL, was a dominant college player, He owns different businesses and stuff like that within the area.
Yeah.
So, like I said, that can be a show within itself, Tate.
Yeah.
Just going through how many people.
We're gonna get our sister here because when she talks about the philosophy of changing the violence and the mindset, and so when you think about her coach impact and how that impact has continued to reach the community. So right now in DC, our coaches you are in a team of how many people?
How many players? I think we had maybe about 40 players.
And our coaches are sometimes coaching multiple disciplines.
Yes.
They're multiple, and so they have to be able to understand that this is a game, but that's a game, and all of this is strategy, and to be able to give that strategy to its place. What do you think some of the coaches need from a student, right? And now as a man seeing the impact that these coaches are making, what can you tell our community that our coaches really need? Because we want to connect.
Absolutely. That's a great question, Tate. Firstly, support. Not only, and I'm not talking about, financial support. I'll get to that. That's important too.
Okay.
But firstly, support. One coach that comes to mind when I talk about support, she coaches girls basketball and girls volleyball at Blue. Angela Richardson. She is the only coach on her staff.
Hold on.
Exactly. And she
High
does
school.
High school. And she, other than maybe an assistant coach when they get close to championship time, but normally when she's coaching, it's really her and maybe one or two other people. But for the most part, it's really her. And she had the leading score in 2019, 2020. She had the leading score in the girls' public school league, the leading scorer. And she was a real support to that young lady. Her name was Tasia Jackson, because Tasia was also a mom.
Wow.
So she was a really, really good support to Tasia and her daughter while helping Tasia to get through and work on her game to be the lead scorer in the league. So that's one thing I think our coaches need. It's just support. And then number two, resources. Not only financial resources, but equipment. A lot
Break
of
that down for us.
And so financially, and this could be, maybe this may be a DC government or even, a federal government issue.
But see, because of one of the things we do at Coach Connection is we know that we want to inspire people to activate what they can. So you heard first, support. Now you're about to hear that you can cash app that that coach, directly because they're at ground zero.
Right.
Okay. So you talked about on Coach Connection, we want to make sure that we are giving our coaches the resources they need to continue to do and have the impact that they're having. You talked about us as a community supporting, not just showing up for the game, but volunteering, interacting. But let's talk about some capital. Let's talk about some other things that our coaches need to do their job more. They're doing a great job, but even better.
Sure. So, and like I said, we talked about support firstly, but secondly, resources and even financial support. One thing that I wish I saw more of were those parent-led fundraisers and stuff like that. A lot of our coaches do things like that. Coach Jason Lane at Anacostia is a really good recruiter, and he's really good about doing that and bringing the community together and getting his parents to, help with fundraising and stuff like that. But that's where I think parents can really make a difference. I think even community organizations that can maybe partner with some of these programs and some of these teams to really help provide the resources that a lot of these young men and young women could utilize. And not just athletically. Of course, equipment is great. Basketballs, football, soccer balls, volleyballs, tennis, tennis equipment, jerseys, uniforms. All those things are great. But even further than that, thinking about the student athlete holistically, providing, resources to help them deal with anger, help them deal with laws. We see a lot of that, unfortunately, in our community. Helping them deal with laws and anger, helping them, with, and DC does a really good job of this, but helping them with gaining scholarships and different opportunities to help them pay for school if they make the decision to go to college. So different things like that.
Because all of them don't go.
Right.
Yeah. And so we're gonna now.
And even if you will, sorry to cut you off, but even if you will, even showing them different avenues. Say maybe college isn't for you. Maybe you have desires to
Open
be
your own business.
right, or
Yeah,
be a
yeah.
beautician or
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Different avenues, that I think different businesses and brands and organizations could partner with,
I love
different
it
teams.
because, see, a lot of times we tell our children, if you don't go to school, it's over.
Right.
I'm
And that's not
like,
true.
That's not true at all.
Maybe 20, 30 years ago, but
Yeah.
no, not here in 2021.
Not at all, right?
No.
And so, as a coach, now you get it. You get it. I hope y'all are listening, right?
And I did do some coaching back in. I wasn't that good of a coach. That's why I chose media.
Okay.
I coached at Bell High School.
Okay.
During
What did you coach?
I coached DBs.
Okay.
But like I said, I wasn't that good. But we had a really good group of kids,
That's
man.
good.
They were ballers.
Okay.
They were ballers.
So that leads me to my next question.
Sure.
Our coaches are actually really influencing. Some of you all are like the stars of your community.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, our coaches are literally influencing influencers.
Yes.
Can you tell our community what are some of the things that you all as athletes did in school to kind of inspire the other, people in the community and all?
I can only speak for what we did at HD Woodson, but and a little bit of what we did at Bell during my time there. Thankfully, during my time as a student athlete at HD Woodson, we really had support from our school and our community as a whole, and the alumni. HD Woodson has amazing
I'm glad
alumni.
you said that.
Oh
Yes.
my goodness! So.
Yes.
When it came to things like homecoming, or when it came to, having, players to come back, former players to come back and speak to us,
Yeah.
And give us some encouragement and
Yes.
inspire us, that was never an issue. That was never difficult.
But it was impactful.
But it was very
Yes,
impactful,
yes.
And important.
Yes.
And while I was at Bell, we had the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Bell, especially once I got there, they'd already been an established program.
Okay.
But once I got there, and not saying that I made a huge impact.
Okay. We
Coach
all have impact.
Coach Alexander and Coach Tyson, who's the head coach now, man, they do a great job. They've done a great job building that program, keeping that program going. But during that time, we really started to make some noise in the league, and we had support from our principal Takeva over at Columbia Heights Educational Campus.
Okay.
We had really good support from her, as well as the school community. A lot of school spirit from not only student athletes, from teachers and parents as well. So those things are important.
The community coming together.
Yes.
Okay. So when you think about it, and I really want you to take time on this
Sure.
question, right? Because so many of our students that, like I said, they are influencers.
Mm-hmm.
And the coach is putting time in them, and we need them, right? But a lot of them find after that graduation or after that Turkey Bowl game, they find themselves having to make that transition.
Very good question.
Tell us about that time frame. Tell us
Very, very good question. And I have actually on my network, TSDN, I actually have a show kind of centered around that called Life After Sports. And before I answer, I'll even say this. That can be a difficult transition.
Yes, sir.
Especially, we've seen a lot of it at the pro level,
Yes.
where you see athletes who retire and then they find themselves getting into trouble, or, unfortunately, in, the case of Junior Seau, former Miami Dolphins, long time San Diego Charger, Miami Dolphin.
Success story, just totally.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So that can be a very difficult transition. But I think I think what's important that for our student athletes to learn, and I think our coaches in DCPS do a great job of this, is letting them know, and this is one thing Coach Fuller was really right about, it is more to life than sports. Sports is going to be a part of your life, but it's not going to be the totality of your life. Coach Fuller said, he's famous for saying this to us during my time there. You're a young man first, you're a student second, and then you're an athlete.
Got it.
So
Say that one more time.
Your
This is
student-
a coach, because it's a coach moment.
Yep. You're a student first, you're an athlete second, and then, you're a coach, you're a coach. You're a student first. You're a young man first, you're a student second, and then you're an athlete third. And that instilled in us, and I see a lot of that now, where coaches are instilling into their players, hey, yes, Give it all you got. Do the best you can. Get as much out of whatever sport you're playing as you can. Because this could be a very good tool to help you not only get a free education, but change your family's life. But remember, you need to prepare for life after sports, which is what my show is about. And a lot of student athletes, I think that's why you see a lot of us giving back in different ways, not just, athletically, but giving back in a lot of different ways because, we understand, we were taught, it was instilled in us that sports is going to end.
Right.
And you got to have something to do next.
So, brother, I can talk to you on, but I got a couple more things, and then I'm going to hold you to knowing that we are just beginning, and we're going to support your platform and let people know that you're reaching young people and you're elevating those young people, and we want people to tune in to watch. But when you think about Coach Connection, why is this platform so important for our community now?
I think it's important because most people don't know the great work that our coaches are doing. In this city, just Washington, D.C., in D.C., and then we can go throughout the DMV. But I'll start in D.C.
Okay.
This is my city. This is where I was born and raised, and this is where I learned. This is where I grew. Here in D.C., we have amazing coaches. Not just amazing coaches, but they're amazing people. Not perfect people, but there's no perfect person.
Right.
But they are really great people, and they have a heart to help young people grow and mature and be the best of themselves that they can. And I think this platform, and I appreciate what you guys do, highlighting our coaches, because our coaches sometimes don't get the credit or the appreciation that they deserve because they're building the next generation. Sometimes a coach can spend more time with a young person than their family does.
Yeah, we heard that.
That's a big impact.
Yes.
It's a big impact in a young person's life. So I think it's great that you all, and I think it's very vital to our community, to our coaches and what they're doing for you guys to really promote what it is that they're doing and shed light on the great impact that they're having throughout the community. So salute to you guys.
Brother, thank you and salute to you. And so that's where I want to go now into you. Sure. When you get a young person's a platform that not only highlights them, but guides them to next, can you tell us, one, how do we watch? But also, can you tell us the impact of highlighting the children, the young adults that are on your platform?
Sure. Well, firstly, you guys can check out my YouTube channel, That Sports Dude Network TSDN. We're posting full game highlights of football, volleyball. We're going to be covering soccer soon, and then when spring comes, we're going to be covering girls and boys basketball, baseball, and etc. So you guys can go to YouTube, That Sports Dude Network, TSDN, or you guys can go to our website, www.thatsportsdudenetwork.com. My team and I, we do a really good job, and I'm not just tooting my own horn, but I think we do a really good job shedding a light on student athletes in our city, from the league and from the public school league that I am an alumni of, and my wife, Trinita, who serves as COO, she's also an alumnus of Coolidge. So we do a great job.
Okay, all right. That's a team play.
Absolutely, man.
I love it.
I think we do a great job providing that platform. And outside of the exposure that it gives student athletes, when I get a young person, it's their first interview. I love this. I rarely share, what I get out of it because I really want it to be all about the student athletes. But when I interview a young person and it's their first interview, you can see just like the elation, maybe a little nervousness if they're camera shy, but you can just see just like I'm getting interviewed. Yeah, you can see it emanating from their face, from their skin. Oh my goodness. And then when I post stuff on social media, and I've had, just in the first couple of weeks, I've had student athletes make some amazing plays, and they go viral across the area.
That's what we got. You got to see it. You got to check it out.
Just to see, and then when I see them the next time I see them, or to hear, man. Yeah. Just see the appreciation that they have, and just the love that they're getting shown throughout the community, and just to see how much that impacts them. It does my heart so good.
Yeah, it changes when we come together. So Coach Connection, is to give you an opportunity to connect up with the coaches that's making a difference, but also connect up to brothers like you who are also supporting the students to get our athletes the support that they need. You heard it. This brother is one of us. He is coming back to make sure that others like him have a platform, but always a pathway to excellence. So is there any closing words, brother? You would like to inspire others to not just be in the stands, because that's important for those to come out and watch a game, but get active in the lives of our athletic departments. Give us a nice close.
Sure, absolutely. But Tate, before I do, man, I appreciate you so much for having me, man. It's been a great conversation. But to you all tuning in to Coach's Connection, I would just want to say this. My pastor always says, godly teamwork makes the dream work.
Oh, say that again, brother. Oh, I love that.
He
What's
says,
your pastor?
Dr. Bill Bennett of Good Success Church over in Northeast D.C.
All right. We always got to give the pastors a
Absolutely. That's a great man. I love that guy.
Amen.
But he always says, godly teamwork makes the dream work. When we come together, we can do so much. In our city, unfortunately, there's a lot of divide among our people.
Yes, it does. Yes.
When that changes, and I believe that it will, when that changes and we become one and we come together with the goal and a purpose to be the best that we can be as a people, I truly believe that there is no limit. I was going to say the sky's the limit, but there is no limit on how amazing and how great of lives and communities that we can have. So if I leave you guys with that, just remember that godly teamwork makes the dream work, and any impact that you have, any little or small thing that you try to do, it will make a difference.
So I'm Faraud Tate with Coach Connection, and you are?
Chris Dunlap.
And how can we reach you?
You guys can follow me on Twitter at _thatsportsdude. You guys can follow me on IG at _thatsportsdude_. You can visit the website www.thatsportsdudenetwork.com. But most importantly, you guys want to check out the YouTube channel, That Sports Dude Network, TSDN. And also, if you guys want some faith-based merch, I hope you don't mind if I do this.
Brother,
little
like
shameless
said,
plug.
We are connectors. This is what it's all about, brother.
If you guys want some faith-based merch, as you guys can see, I got my our team's First in Jesus t-shirt on. We have another t-shirt, God is my head coach. And another one, let the church and let the hood say amen. So if you guys want to check out some of those things, you can definitely, again, visit the website. It's all there.
We're here, and thank you so much for stay tuned for our next show and our next coach.
Coach's Connection, connecting you and the greater DMV to local sports programs, as well as the coaches that inspire our local youth. This show has been brought to you by the Scholar Athlete Sports Network, SASN.TV.